Great. So thanks so much to the folks who were kind enough to include me in this wonderful mix of people, and so many legendary names that are so great. I'm honored and a bit humbled by it. But I was thinking, if anyone had told me around 1978 or 79 in my state of California that I'm so proud of being from, that I would have spent more time by this point in my journey in the Keystone State than in the Garden State, I would have told them they had been smoking too much of that Northern California wacky weed, because I never thought that that was possible, and yet I've been at MMR, and my little claim to fame is I've been at one radio station, right about now is my anniversary, 34 years. So, my line of work now, well, you guys know it, you know how difficult that is. MMR, that one station, has been on the air for 47 years, another amazing thing. And so it's just a wonderful thing when you think about this joy of radio and this intimacy. And Harvey touched on it, I think, in a great way, because it was brought home to me when driving the microbus they spoke of from San Francisco to Lake Tahoe. You get over the hill and there's a long stretch of Interstate 80 and it's flat. I mean, Minerva was a 4-cylinder engine and only went about 57 on flat area. When she hit the Sierra Mountains, it was second gear, about 25, 26 miles an hour in the slowest lane. This is true. It's a car that came across the country, and she was a great, and by the way, it wasn't towed away because it was a problem. It was towed away because I had racked up thousands of dollars with the Philadelphia Parking Authority in tickets, and I didn't have the money to pay them. Anyway, I was driving on this straightaway through Sacramento, the capital of California, and there was this great radio station. Because Minerva was so slow, I had this awesome stereo in it until I got to Philly when it was promptly stolen. But I was on this straightaway, and I'm listening to this great music, and I'm jamming, and I'm going sideways steering wheel, and I all of a sudden go, oh, there's that great station. I was listening to the station I always listen to, and you'd lose it as you'd head up to Tahoe. And I said, I'm going to stop, and I'm going to call in for a request. And so I got off the freeway, and I went to this large plexiglass square device that had a phone in it. It's called a phone booth. And to the younger students who are here, that was before cell phones. There was a time, and you're wondering, how did we live? We don't know. We don't know. But I put money, I called the operator, I got the number of the station, I called the station, I got the DJ, and I said, would you play a song? I loved what you played so far. And he goes, what would you like to hear? And I said, don't laugh, I'll laugh if you want. Freebird. I wanted to hear Freebird by Leonard Skinner. And he goes, well, okay, that's a good idea. And I said, but I want to hear the live version, which is 14 minutes long. And I said, and I'm almost out of range. Do you think it would be possible? He says, as they often do, I'll see what I can do. And I got a cup of coffee, got back in Minerva, continued on my journey, and I have only about 20 minutes before I'm losing the station, and he played it. And I'll never forget it. You know, that intimacy, that connection between a listener and the music and the radio that brought that music to that listener was me. And that's what I like to do to this day, to take care of those wonderful listeners who are a part of it. And I think what makes it so cool is staying in the present. MMR is a great place because we've got this rich musical history, having started in 1968. But now, we're still very much in the present. So we're like a living museum that plays newer stuff and plays older stuff. And that is the way we celebrate music, because it's so powerful. So whether it's the Struts or the Stones, whether it's Royal Blood or the Red Hot Chili Peppers, whether it's Muse or Metallica, these bands all have a place, and musicians don't know any boundaries. Or, you know, when you hear formats described, well, that's classic rock, well, that's alternative rock, oh, that's oldies, that's newies, that's hard rock. It's all music. And when you see people like Dave Grohl from the Foo Fighters, who does he want to play with? Paul McCartney of the Beatles. When you see these legendary teaming, for example, Don Henley of the Eagles has this great new album, Country Flavor. And who did he ask to sing on it, in addition to Merle Haggard, but Mick Jagger? And Mick Jagger agreed and sang on it. You know, it's that kind of spirit that you see these kinds of performers, you get this connection. You know, last summer I saw the Rolling Stones. Jackie and I went out to Pittsburgh, saw the Rolling Stones. Mick Jagger is 71, and he's playing like he's never played before. The Stones sounded absolutely great. A month later, I went to Atlantic City, and I saw Tony Bennett, who's 89, and Lady Gaga. And they were magnificent. You see, it's this overall connection, it's this intimacy, it's this wonderful thing that keeps people together. And in terms of people being passionate about it, Harvey again touched on both of these gentlemen, but they are my heroes in addition to the long list of wonderful people who've been inducted previously. That would be Sid Mark, and that would be Jerry Blavat. Because they don't have to do this anymore, you know, but Sid Mark is on 100 radio stations celebrating Frank Sinatra all around the country, and every Sunday morning it's Sundays with Sinatra, as Don mentioned earlier as well. And that program is magnificent, and there's no one like him. Why does he do it? Because he loves that music. Jerry Blavat loves that music. You can see him riding around town on his bicycle, or God forbid, the Geetermobile. I mean, you'll see him, but he's the greatest. He still does record hops. You know, he's still got Memories at Margate's. They don't stop, and we don't have to stop, and broadcasting doesn't have to stop. There are no boundaries, either in the music or in those who connect people to the music. And the other part of the thing I would like to say is the intimate connection with those listeners who we serve. So they're so important to us, because it's a blessing to be able to connect with a station like MMR. If you think about it, it started in 1968. Kids that were in t-shirts and jeans at the time have gone on to become parents, grandparents. We have gotten to share by virtue of being friendly. He's already left. I've driven him away. I go on a bit. But we've been able to share by virtue of this intimate connection, because that's what radio can be, personal and can be intimate and can connect. And we've been able to share people's lives. I've gotten calls from a funeral procession where people are coming back, could you play a song? And I try to do it. I've gotten songs from a delivery room where a new soul has entered the world. You know, we get, I got that job here, I'm checking in, I got that job, you know, I'm telling you about the job. I graduated, you know, I'm getting married, I'm getting divorced. I mean, all of those things that happen in the course of a life, this station, if you have a station like MMR, and if you have personalities like we've had, you're able to connect with people. And my God, we've had personalities. From the very first one, Dave Herman, and to the great people like Ed Shockey and Michael Tierson, certainly John DeBella, who's been honored here before, and our current staff, which is legendary in and of themselves. President Steve Jackson, who follows me, and Matt Cord in the evening, and Jackie Bam Bam, who is a very colorful character over in the corner. Everyone thinks he's a rock star. People come up and go, who are you with? I know you're famous, but I don't know who you are. What is it? It's live, and it's local, it's caring about the community. I will just tout this fact because I'm so proud of the fact we're live 24 hours a day, where the tradition in broadcasting has been to not have an overnight person. If we didn't have an overnight person, I couldn't be here and have 34 years, because that's where I started. That wonderful world of people who keeps the world going when everybody else sleeps. They need a real person there. Stations and companies have cut that out to save money. Or, worse yet, they brought in this horrible voice tracking. It takes you away from that intimacy. And so I'm really proud that MMR still maintains that intimacy. And the last thing I would say is getting back to that. And the last thing I would say is getting back to that guy who played that request for me. I might not be able to change the world, but I might be able to make somebody's day. Harvey touched on this as well. Maybe somebody's having a rough day. Maybe I can play a song or send something out to them and lift them up or give them hope to carry on to another day. That's the power of radio. That's the intimacy of radio, and I believe that is still my job in present time right now. Thank you very much.